How you doing, everyone? My name is David Duran, aka Liv. That's what they call me. I'm always talking about real estate, how to live better, things of that nature. You can also go on my website, livebetter.com, LIVBETTA.com. How you flip a house with no money, no credit. I'm going to tell you right now how you do it from A to B to C. First thing you have to do is find a property that has equity in it, which means that it has to have some value to it, meaning that you buy it for $100,000 and it's worth $200,000. Because that's the only way you can flip a property like that to an investor, or it could be to a first-time home buyer. But it should have some equity in it so you could be able to add a little price tag of yours to it to be able to flip it to your investor or to your home buyer. So if you find a property for like $100,000, you can put a $10,000 price tag on it, sell it for $110,000. Now the first thing you do is you get the contract, download the contract from my website, livebetter.com, LIVBETTA.com. You download one of those contracts, and it's a purchase and sales agreement. It's very simple to fill out: buyer, seller, address, name, stuff like that. Now, to make these contracts legally binding, I was always told from lawyers and stuff like that, you put down $10, $50 as an earnest deposit on the contract when you go into the seller and you're buying the house from the seller. You put that on the contract, you give them the $10, $50. A lot of times I do $100, and I'll show you those contracts. You can look at my other videos and you see those contracts that I have filled out and signed. We only put $100 down on the contract, and I flipped it for $5,000 or $10,000 more, and that's what I made off the deal. Now that's how you get a house, and you could get a house and flip a house with no money, no credit. You know, but you have to find these. It's hard to find these deals. You have to find people who's going through foreclosure. They inherit a property they don't want, a tired landlord. All those are situations where people may want to sell their house, you know. They may be moving to another state, whatever the case may be. It has to be like a motivated seller. They have to be motivated and willing to sell their house with no problems, no questions asked, and things of that nature. There's a lot of people out here, though, that will, you know, give you their house with no money down, or you could take over somebody's mortgage payment without putting any money down, like I just did with a property that I got in Maryland. You know, you could find somebody where their mortgage is too high, they're tired of paying it, they may want to downsize to a smaller house because the kids may got grown, they older now, so they want to sell their house fast and move into the next one. So that's where you come in. You come in, you find a house, and you have to be a good negotiator too. Sometimes everybody always wants top dollar for their house. Everybody always wants top dollar for their house. So you have to be a great negotiator, and you have to do research on these properties. Now, what I do to do research on properties to find out how much they're worth is, you know, I take the address. I may go on Zillow. You could go on Zillow. A lot of times Zillow will give you a zestimate of how much the property is worth. But a lot of times it's not always accurate, but it gives you an estimated amount what it could be worth. You know, but a lot of times what you do is you could go on Zillow too and see what properties were sold in that area, in that same zip code, with that same square footage, same bedrooms, and that will give you comps on these properties. And comps are the prices that they're going for, the comparable prices that they're going for in that neighborhood. So once you do that, you can find out how much properties is worth, and then how much you have to negotiate to be able to make a profit off the property. Now also what you have to do, a lot of times properties need work, stuff like that. So you also have to get into finding out what the repairs are, and then you deduct the repairs, you know, the repair stuff from the price that you may want to pay, you know, and that's how much sometimes you have to get the property for before you even flip it to an investor. So say if you find a property, they want $100,000 for it, but it needs about $30,000 worth of work. You might have to negotiate that down to $60,000 and put a $10,000 price tag to it to flip it to an investor for $70,000, where after they all in with the property, they had $100,000 and they could flip it for like $150 or $175, things of that nature. So you definitely have to do that. You have to do research on properties and find out what the comps are on properties. And those are the comparable prices of what that house may be going for in that same zip code, that block, with the same square footage, all those type of things. So that's how you can get into flipping houses with no cash and no credit. And once you start building up you flip some properties, you get some money up, then now you could get into buying properties or doing what I'm doing, Airbnbs, and that could bring in more passive income for you every month besides wholesaling deals, So that's just a tip I want to give you today, because a lot of people always ask me, how do you flip a property with no cash and no credit? And that's how you do it. You find a property, you use the purchase and sales agreements that I have, you put it in contract with a seller, then you go out and you find a buyer. You get a buyer, you could use the same contract twice. You get a buyer, and then you have a contract saying that you're selling it for $10,000 more or $20,000 more than him. You go find a lawyer or a title company. You bring both of those contracts to them. Sometimes they may want, like a title company may want $250 down to get the process started. But come on, man, it's worth it doing if you're going to get a $5,000 or $10,000 check, Or sometimes, if you don't have it, make the buyer put up the money to start the title process, because you're going to make them pay the closing costs anyway. So you make them put up the money to start the title process. A lot of times, if you go through a lawyer is not going to charge you nothing up front. They're going to take their money off the back end when the deal closes. So it's best sometimes to go through lawyers instead of title companies if you want to close a deal without having to put any money up. So once you do that, you get a deal sheet, and really a deal sheet is only saying that where the money goes at the closing. That's going to say that you can put on there what the seller is getting, what you're getting as an assignment fee, what the buyer is getting. And once you have like a detailed closing sheet for the deal, then now the lawyer or the title company knows where to allocate the money at the closing. So that's the best thing to do, so you don't keep nobody puzzled. The lawyers, they sometimes they don't know exactly who's getting what, and that's what you have to do so you can make sure you get your check at the closing. So you have to do, I always do that, do a closing detail sheet of who gets what. It's a very simple sheet. You can call me up or text me, and I can send you a closing detail sheet to you so you can see how it looks. It's very simple. It's just going to say the buyer, the seller, the date, your assignment fee. It's very simple, and that's how you give it to the lawyers or the title company so they can close the deal for you. Okay, so if anybody have any questions or any things they want to ask me, you can always call me at 516-927-7993, or you can text me. But if you want to come by, you can come by my barbershop in Crown Heights. It's 823 Park Place between Noe Street and Rogers. You can always come by here and chop it up with me and kick it. But I advise you to set an appointment with me, because that's the only way I want to talk to you. You must make an appointment, even if not getting a haircut. You must make an appointment with me. It's $25 appointment if you want to come in here and talk about real estate, because the lights is not free in here, having this place is not free, and it's really just a small donation that helps fund this black-owned business and to keep on going forward into the future. Also, you can check out my hat line called Gem Headwear, GEM Headwear. Check it out on Instagram. I have dope hats, and GEM Headwear means greatness equals money. All the hats I do is symbolic and motivational. Check them out on Instagram. Also, you can check them out on my website, universallook.com, that's where my barbershop is at, and I have my hats on there too. And also, check out my people's brand. It's called Die Rich. You can see them on Instagram too. They got dope hoodies and stuff like that. I'm all about entrepreneurship. I'm a serial entrepreneur. And this is a lifestyle brand, Live Better. It's about living better every day. And I'm making more videos about how to live better, where to eat at better, where to live at better, with cars to get better. I'm also going to show you how to do that with Toro and Get Around. Putting your cars on there, how you can turn your cars, your liabilities into assets. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm turning everything I have that's a liability to an asset. From where I live, to where I work, to the car I drive, everything is going to be an asset. So stay tuned to more videos I have. You can check me out on my real estate website, livebetter.com, LIVBETTA.com. Also, you can check me out on Instagram too at livebetta, LIVBETTA.com. Peace.